Dr. Hyder studies a picture in his automobile while parked beside a vacant highway offshoot, showing 3 dogs positioned behind one another, with each dog's face seemingly adhered to the rear of the one in front of it. The doctor is admiring this strange chain of dogs, until he gets sidetracked by a cargo that is parked directly behind him. The driver exits the truck and dashes into the woods while holding a roll of toilet paper. Dr. Hyder shows interest in the driver, so he exits the vehicle, grabs his small caliber rifle, conceals it under his raincoat, and follows the driver into the bushes. The physician points the firearm towards him. Jenny and Lindsay, 2 attractive American travelers, are on vacation in a budget hotel room and are going to the Bunker Club. They came to Germany for fun and new adventures. Lindsay calls her friend Amy to tell her about a new acquaintance, a waiter that Jenny liked and invited them to hang out. The friends drive to the party, get lost, drive into the middle of nowhere, and then discover they have a flat tire and are left alone in the dark, eerie middle of nowhere. Lindsay attempts to contact a rental car company, but there is no cell phone reception. So, they decide to wait until daybreak, when a car pulls over and stops. A fat, elderly German man approaches the girls, asking them to translate for him if they speak German, but they can only respond in English. Eventually, the girlfriends realize what the unattractive German is asking of them. They refuse. The German drives off. Lindsay and Jenny must choose between waiting for the next pervert in the car or going for help. They decide on the latter, and the friends pull off the road and head further into the woods before they argue and start fighting when they are both too exhausted to continue. Additionally, Lindsay notices the light coming from the house's window among the trees. It starts to rain, and the girls rush toward the house in the yard, frozen and exhausted. They glimpse a strange tombstone with the words, "My favorite triple dog," and after several knocks and shouts, a tall man opens the door for them. Dr. Hyder gives the girls a serious look as they beg for assistance and his permission to call. Then he lets them in, talks to them for a little while, then leaves to get a tow truck. The companions ask for a glass of water from the eerie interior, which features numerous odd artwork on the walls, a fire in the fireplace, and a hallway that resembles a morgue. The girls in corridor are afraid, but returning to the woods in the rain is much more terrifying. The doctor tells the girls that the tow truck will be in 30 minutes, while the 3 of them wait in the living room. Dr. Hyder is in the kitchen pouring water and pretending to speak with the help desk, but in actuality, he is throwing sleeping pills into the glasses intended for the girls. The females are uneasy in silence. They are attempting to make small talk and drinking water. At this point, Lindsay spills her water, causing the man to go insane. He yells at the awkward guest and heading to the kitchen to get another drink. The friends reassure him that they will drink from the same glass. The doctor still leaves, ostensibly to get a towel, but in reality, he heads to the basement to check on his recent prey, the drugged-out truck driver. In addition, he loads a syringe with sleeping pills because Lindsay spilled her beverage. Jenny and Lindsay make the decision to flee before it's too late. Jenny feels exhausted and drinks the remaining water. Dr. Hyder reappears with a towel around his back and a syringe. Jenny is ready to pass out, and he responds that her buddy drank water that contained a unique ingredient. Lindsay tries to flee, but her weakness prevents her from doing so. The doctor grabs her and uses a syringe to inject the medication into her neck. The evening is coming to an end. After eating breakfast, Dr. Heidi tears up the girls' paperwork. They awaken to the horrifying scene of being shackled to metal bunks in a pitch-black basement, where medical equipment is beeping in the headliners. The truck driver is lying on the 3rd bed. When the doctor arrives, he walks up to the overweight driver and informs him that he is not fit and that he will have to kill him. He ignores the cries of his girls. The driver perishes after the doctor administers a fatal dose. After finding a replacement for him, quickly, Dr. Hyder brings a Japanese man named Katsuro into the basement. He then decides to introduce himself and tells him that he has been a surgeon for a long time and that during his practice, he separated conjoined twins. However, after retiring, He got bored and decided to perform the reverse operation to create such twins. His first experiment was to combine dogs into an unusual multi-legged creature. To this end, he decided to create a human centipede. And the doctor has gone into more detail about this, saying that he intends to line people up one after the other by connecting their mouths and butts. Dr. Hyder also explains to the girls and Katsuro how the operation will go, including how he intends to deform their kneecaps, to facilitate getting on all fours and to unite their digestive systems with a human centipede. Prior to the operation, the doctor puts the Japanese man to sleep and then executes the same procedure on Jenny. However, Lindsay escapes while the ruthless surgeon attends to her pal. The girl uses her teeth to loosen the straps binding her hand. Then she freezes the other hand and jumps off the bunk, not realizing that a needle is stuck in her vein, rupturing it as she flees. In a fit of rage, Dr. Hyder topples the cart with the medications and tools. Lindsay, who is terrified and covered in blood, hides in one of the doctor's rooms at his house. She tries not to make any noise, but the doctor discovers her and forces her to open the door. He threatens Lindsay with terrible consequences if she doesn't open the door, and when she doesn't comply, he vanishes. Lindsay desires to go out the window, picks up a table lamp to break it, pulls back the curtain, and screams horribly behind it. The mad doctor, with a rifle in his hands, smashes the window from outside while Lindsay escapes through the door, unlocking it with difficulty. She rushes through the house, opening doors one after another, until she finds herself near the pool and falls in. The doctor catches up to her and fires a rifle loaded with sleeping pills, but Lindsay doesn't give up. She dives underwater. The girl is terrified and will do anything, even kill herself, to avoid the operation. The doctor tries to entice her out by turning on the blinds covering the pool from above, but Lindsay dives in, determined to drown, when the blinds are almost closed. The power grid is overloaded, and all the electricity in the house goes out. The doctor, on the other hand, tells Lindsay that one of the dogs also tried to escape before the surgery. When he caught that dog, he put it in the middle of a tandem of doggy centipede here. The pain of the wound healing is much worse. He plans to do the same with Lindsay. The girl exits the pool and tries to flee, but she remembers her friend. She goes back to the basement, where Jenny and an unknown Japanese man are unconscious. Lindsay pulls her friend out, lifts her upstairs, drags her down the hallway, and is already carrying her out of the house. However, before she can drag Jenny 20 yards away, Dr. Hyder shoots her in the back. A dart of sleeping pills hits her between the shoulder blades. The girl passes out, and the doctor operates on her. Katsuro is tasked with playing the centipede's head. Lindsay, true to his word, is positioned in the midst of them. Jenny becomes the last. After the procedure, all three of them survive, and the doctor starts training the humans like dogs, feeding them dog food, making them fetch the newspaper, and assigning them other tasks. Because of the unhygienic settings, Jenny eventually gets sick and becomes infected, making her body unsuitable for such torture. Despite the girl's maltreatment, the doctor doesn't even consider treating her because a new centipede component can easily replace her. When the landlord answers the phone, Katsuro cries out for help, but the doctor manages to cover the phone with his hand. He quickly climbs upstairs, straightens up, and goes to open the door. A police squad arrives at Dr. Hyder's house. They inform him that they are searching for missing people in the vicinity of Hyder's home, inquiring about a potential connection with foreign tourists, whose screams some witnesses have heard not far from the doctor's residence. The girl's car is found. The doctor acknowledges that he hardly ever leaves his home and that he is immersed in research. The police agree. The doctor goes to the kitchen and pours water for each of his guests. He then throws sleeping pills in the basement. At this point, Katsuro is screaming hysterically, but they are unable to hear him. They are questioning the doctor. The doctor loses his cool and screams at the investigators, pleading with them to leave the premises and take a drink of water laced with sleeping tablets. Detective Kranz perseveres through his landlord's outburst and breaks his glass, even though he intends to replace the tail of his centipede with one of the police officers. Additionally, the fact that Heidegger's car was seen near the location where the missing Danish driver vanished raises the possibility that the two are related. Dr. Heider apologizes, blaming it on nerves, then heads downstairs to grab a towel. Upon his return, he informs the centipede that he has found 2 additional pieces, which he plans to install in Jenny's place. After that, the doctor begins to clean up the broken glass, and the detective crayons request authorization to explore the basement. Naturally, Heider declines and requests a search warrant. An argument breaks out. A towel falls from the doctor's hands, and the police notice a hidden syringe underneath. The doctor claims to have brought insulin because he has diabetes, but the police don't believe him, so they quickly leave and say they need to get a search warrant. The detectives leave, and the doctor rushes to the basement to hide his centipede, only to discover that it's not there. Terrified, Heider looks for the trio and finds them around the next corner, where Katsuro stabs the sadistic surgeon in the leg with a scalpel. The doctor falls and screams in agony. Katsuro then jumps on him, biting him in the neck as he tries to devour his artery. After, the centipedes rush to get away, climbing the steep stairs as their bodies start to separate from one another. The doctor, meantime, gets up from the floor. The fugitives decide to flee through the previously broken window in the Heider's room. When they get there, they find that the doctor has replaced the glass in a desperate attempt to save face. Katsuro rushes at it and breaks it, and when the trio is approached by the doctor, he slits himself. The police return with a warrant in hand, ring the intercom, but nobody answers. When the investigators burst down the door and hunt for the sadistic surgeon, they find a half-dead centipede who was weak from drinking the drugged water. Dr. Heider crawls away to the pool and hides his knife in his hands as he gets ready to meet the cops. The detective, however, shoots the doctor in the head. The centipede remains outside, the girls cry holding hands. Finally, Jenny dies, leaving Lindsay alone. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to support us and press the like button for more interesting recaps.